afternoon, and welcome to E-News' very own segment on multicultural literature. My name is Mrs. Interviewer. Today we have an incredibly special guest, one of Mrs. Van Wagner's very own, Mary Grace Coyle. Please welcome Mary Grace Coyle to the stage. Oh, Mrs. Interviewer, thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Oh, well, sweetheart, for someone as hardworking and prestigious as you deserved a great welcome. So I know that recently you've been studying a lot on different forms of multicultural lit and analyzing some quotes. I have a quote that I'd like for you to further explain. Oh yes, home is a very interesting theme throughout multicultural literature. And it represents multiple different things to all these different characters in the books that we have studied. Amy Tan's Joy Luck Club is an incredible example of this. As Jing-Mei Wu, one of the main characters, opens up her narrative, her mother has just passed, and her father has asked Jing-Mei Wu to take her mother's place at the Joy Luck Club. The Joy Luck Club is very similar to an American game night. It's where friends share stories, play mahjong, and bond over their childhood. They eat traditional Chinese food and tell stories of what it was like to grow up as a Chinese American. Xian was Amy's mother, and she was the founder of the Joy Luck Club. She originally founded it because her first husband was an officer in Kuomintang. During the 1940s, the party that he was an officer for was threatened by Japanese invasions and by the rising force of communist power. One day, her husband took her and their twin daughters, Chuan Yu and Chuan Hua, to the town of Quilin to protect them while he went off to fight. Quilin was a town full of refugees at the time, and cultural, ethnic, and class tensions added to the many hardships that came with lack of food and lack of money. During their stay in Quilin, Xian created the Joy Luck Club with 3 other women in order to escape the fear and persecution that came with war. Joy Luck Club consisted of these women making feasts, which weren't necessarily feasts, but they were just trying to have a half-full mentality. It also consisted of them playing mahjong, which is a traditional Chinese game, and the telling and trading of stories. They did these things to create a hopeful vibe in a hopeless city. Xian started this in order to have a perspective switch and to try to be lucky. She believed this brought the whole town luck. It certainly made their quality of life better in Quilin because they had a new perspective and outlook on life. Despite their hardships, they remained joyous. If you fast forward many years, Xian comes to America, and she raises children in America. With this comes a lot of pain, grief, and stress involving her relationships, children, and the ridicule she faced due to her culture. So, to continue to stay positive in America, she started the Joy Luck Club. Joy Luck Club is her home, and it represents a state of mind to Xian. This state of mind consists of peace despite circumstances, joy, hopefulness, and a bond like no other. The exact definition of the word home is a place where one lives permanently, especially as a member of a family or a household. Personally, I think the Joy Luck Club for Xian is a great example of this. Everything the Joy Luck Club encompasses is exactly what Xian wants her home to be. Her home is a state of mind, and her family is everyone that she shares the Joy Luck Club with. Obviously, a meeting club is not what most would imagine a home to be, but for Xian, it's all she's ever wanted. So like Sonricia Tate said, you can leave home all you want, but home will never leave you. Due to the many hardships Xian has faced at her real physical homes, this state of mind is a positive association with home, and it changes her perspective on everything. Xian's idea of home created a great and permanent home to everyone in Amy Tan's Joy Luck Club. Well, you certainly do know what you're talking about. Thank you so much for sharing, Mary Grace. Welcome back to E-News. Once again, I'm Mrs. Interviewer. Up next, we have some more questions answered by Mary Grace Coyle. For the past 12 years, Mary Grace has been studying all different types of literature. She has a very unique perspective and is great at answering descriptive questions. So let's welcome Mary Grace Coyle back to the stage for some great questions. So firstly, Mary Grace, how have you grown as a learner throughout the course of this semester? Throughout the course of this semester, I've grown as a learner in many different ways. By immersing myself in the new works of literature and literature theories that I was unfamiliar with, I've broadened my horizons and now have a deeper appreciation for authors and literature. By learning about all the different literature theories, I learned how some readers can see things from one perspective, while others see it from an entirely different one. I have also learned to analyze text, to look for hidden meanings, and to understand literature to a deeper level, and to relate it to not only the characters in the book, but to characters in other books, and to global issues. I believe that you can't fully appreciate a text or work of literature until you know what the author's intended purpose is. And throughout this course, I have learned how to find that purpose. I believe that you can't fully appreciate a text or work of literature until you know what the author's intended purpose is. And throughout this course, I have learned how to find that purpose. Great answer, Mary Grace. So, what is the most important idea or argument that was generated in this semester's discussions? And can you explain this concept in your own words, please? Personally, I think that the most important argument that has been generated throughout these discussions this semester has actually came from a TED Talk that I watched on the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. The person wasn't specifically talking about the book, but this was in the same module. And it was talking about how, like Christopher in the book who has Asperger's, that children and people with Asperger's are the people who are going to change the world. And it was an argument that should they be in the talented and gifted program? And the person giving the TED Talk who has Asperger's was saying, yes, they should be in talented and gifted programs. They see things in a different perspective, in a different light than anyone else, and they're technologically advanced or more art-based advanced than average people, and as though some may see them as having a disability, Asperger's can actually be the change that the world is waiting on to make a difference and to cure things that we thought were incurable and to solve things we thought were unsolvable. Great answer, Mary Grace. So, what are the values or beliefs that inform this idea or argument? So, actually, I think some of the values and beliefs that inform this could actually be based on the disability studies theory. And disability studies helps us realize that there are boundaries between normal and abnormal bodies, and for many people, these boundaries are different. Some people see something as a disability, and some people see it as an advantage. And our bodies impact in powerful ways, not only those with so-called deviant bodies, but also people with normal bodies. This is according to Schmoop. And as we strive to live up to the cultural idea of what normal is, there are many things that come with that, because every body, and by every body I mean every physical body, is different. So in determining which is an advantage and which is a disability, we see a lot of controversy with that. How do you think that this issue is viewed by those with whom you disagree? I think that many people see disability as a disadvantage, and they see it as something that should just be put away and that those people should just be left out of society. How can you use what you learned in this course outside the four walls of our classroom? I will use what I've learned in this class outside of the four walls of this classroom to help me understand authors and their purposes for writing books, to help me further analyze and connect novels to deeper issues than just what I see on the surface, and to challenge myself to see and read things from the lens of the many different literary theories that I have been provided with. This course has equipped me with all the different tools that I need to analyze literary work from a whole new perspective than I thought I ever could. Thank you for joining us on E-News.